Bill here. This is my game against... Oh, who was it against? This is my game against J.Purdy in the Australian Correspondence Championship. Now, J.Purdy is the son of J.Purdy, who won the first World Correspondence Championship, and J.Purdy has also won the Australian crossboard, that is, normal standard chess. So he's won the Australian crossboard championship. Okay, so I was white. So I was the French. So I played the advanced c5, knight out. So I thought maybe he'd play pawn takes pawn, and I'd get him into a slightly different version of the advanced. He declined the bait. c3, so this is the standard advanced variation. Queen b6, so the old main line. In the old days, we've got bishop d3, which eventually leads to sacking this pawn. You have bishop e2, which is the main move. However, I played a3, which is a newer move. It loses time, but the idea is to maybe play b4 at some point and safeguard the b pawn and gain a bit of space on the queen side. So black pushed, which is one of the stock replies. Knight to d2, pawn to f6. So gaining a bit of freedom. g3, because bishop can't do much on this diagonal, so the idea is to bring it out to there or there. Pawn takes pawn, attack with the knight. Knight takes knight. Pawn takes bishop c5, hitting the f2 pawn. Gave a check. Now the idea is I've weakened the black queen side, because this move weakens the black king side, the f6 and the h6 squares. So it was worth doing that check just to force that weakening. Bishop d7. Bishop goes to the hit the pawn, though bishop g2 had some advantages. Knight e7, castles. Now, black probably would have done a lot better to castle. Oh, well, Houdini's sort of tossing between the two, but I think it's safer to castle queen side, even though it's relatively easy for white to open the b file by playing pawn to b3 at some point. Okay, so I had this in a lightning game against is now international master. I think he's got some GM norms. Moulton Lee, and I lost once upon a time. Okay, so yeah, I think castling queenside has been what he did. So what tends to happen in correspondence, people make not so many tactical mistakes. They still make them, but fewer of them, but they do make strategical errors. So he castled the wrong side, so he castles into the weakened king side. So move my knight to a better square, open up opened up this bishop. That's what happens, you don't hold the alt key down at the same time. Okay, so the knight went to a reasonable square. Bishop went maybe hitting for f6, an outpost right near the black king, attacking squares near the king at some point. Knight went back. Knight's not a good square there. Rook just improves the position of the rook. I might be able to put a knight on d4 at some point. Rook f7, so I thought, what's the plan of attack here? And I came up with this idea of fancying the h pawn to soften up the g6 pawn. So knight went to the strong square first, queen went back, bishop went here, so the plan is starting to unravel. I'm controlling h5, so I can advance this h pawn. Pawn went up, so black's getting ready to open lines on the queen side. The rook pawn advances, queen moves to a better square, and here it comes. The pawn makes it to h5. So black swaps them off, and the bishop as well. So black has the two bishops, but it is a block position, and the black king side seriously weakened. I can get my rook to the h file by playing king h2 and rook h1. Bishop came back, so black's swapping off pieces. He wants to swap off the attacking pieces. But unfortunately it leaves him with a bad bishop, which is blocked in by its own pawns against a good knight. King goes up, gets ready to swing the rook over. So Houdini's saying upper hand for white here. Bishop hit the queen. Queen came back. Rook went over. Pawn came up, so I've got another idea of breaking with f5 at some point. Bishop g6, pawn f5. Bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. So white's got a pass pawn. Its pawn is weak, it's isolated, backward. And white's still got some possibilities on the king side. King in the corner, gets it off the open file. Rook takes the pawn. So it turns out that it's going to be difficult for black to hold that pawn, I'm guessing. So white's a pawn up, but his own king's a bit open, so it takes a while to convert. So Houdini's only giving the slight advantage. Black doubles rooks, white defends pawn, queen hits the rook, rook goes back. So white's not worried about black exchanging the two rooks for the queen and the pawn here. Rook moves up. King unpins, the rook is now unpinned. Black has a powerhouse, queen and two rooks are trebled on the same line. So upper hand to white here. Queen f4. Rook goes over. Rook d7. Interesting. Same two moves as suggested by Houdini. Queen rook check. King g1. Queen takes rook. That's interesting. Houdini's suggesting e6 here. I'm not sure if I even looked at that move. Just assumed we had to take the rook. Well, there you go. Okay, so I took the rook. So Houdini says I've lost part of my advantage, but I've still got the upper hand. Rook moves over. Well, white's got a decisive advantage according to Houdini. Houdini says queen takes queen is best. Yep, recommended by Houdini, rook f6. There we go, so white's got a big advantage here. They've got, you imagine it took a long time working out this queen inning because of the danger of black getting perpetual check. Okay, so it's a winning position for white. Queen's on the centre, which is a good square in a queen endgame. Okay, so black is out of checks. Or we'll run out of checks soon. So black resigned. He'd love to go queen check here, but unfortunately the check is met by a move that pins the queen to the king. And of course any king and pawn inning is going to be an easy win for white. So black resigned. You can imagine yeah, you know, that game took like a year or two. There's a lot of work analysing all that by hand without using a computer. Okay, so thank you for watching.